we are really glad to use the HTC Vive Focus 3 right now, together with the Vicon system, active motion capturing, and this is perfect for the family entertainment.
All right, we are back at the Vive Theater. Alexander from Mack. So the first let's do some context, because there's a big organization that you are here helping to represent, and so let's start with the Mach Family and Europa Park and talk about where you and Mach 1 and Mach Next fit within that ecosystem.
So first of all, thanks for having me here. And I just want to try to explain what we are doing. So, if you see at the screen, you can see two companies. One is the Mach 1, which is the business incubator and think tank of the Europa Park. And Mack is because of the Mach family. And the Mach family runs the business since 1780. So we got
wait. Did you say 1780?
1780, exactly. Because if you think about Mack Rides, which is the manufacturer of the roller coaster, they started 1780. So it's.
And you thought I was old.
So it's a very, very old and experienced company. And we got different subsidiaries in the Mach family. So we got Mack Animation for full feature animation movie. We got VR coaster. We got Mack Rides as well. And as I said before, Mach 1 is the business incubator and think tank. And I'm working as the executive director of the Mach 1 and as well as a managing director for VR coaster to bring everything to the next level. And being a bridgehead.
And so, I got to do one of the very first implementations of VR Coaster, which was one of the most amazing VR experiences I had done at the time, and still it was the Coastiality and at Europa Park, and it was Luc Besson who created, what was the movie? Do you remember the movie? The
Valerian.
Valerian and A Million Planets or whatever, and they created a VR version of that where you put on a headset and you do a free roam experience, and then you get into the VR, into the coaster while you're in VR. And then you ride the coaster in this massive VR experience. And it was really early days of tech, but it was unbelievably visionary for what it was, at the time.
So we created that 2016, and we call it the Roman Ride, because you put the headset on and then you enter the train, and you can feel the bar when you enter the train, so everything is absolutely synchronized, and this is a very good system. So and I can't tell you right now that what we're going to do next year, but there will be a new development for this attraction.
Yeah, cool. And then just for context, VR Coaster was one of the first real success stories, I think, coming out of IAAPA, certainly, where I want to say at one point there might have been 60 or 80 or 100 coasters that had virtual reality on them. Like it was really one of the earlier adoptions of VR, which made sense if you're going to take old steel that's 10 or 15 or 20 years old and slap on a VR headset.
Yes.
And extend the life of it. And so it was really one of the very good first early product market fits that we saw in this industry.
Yeah, I have to admit we made our learnings with putting smartphones on roller coasters, so it wasn't that big success, but now we got the ruggedized and military grade headsets, and they work perfectly. And
And so talk about where you've gone from there. So you started with, Galaxy Gear headsets on a phone strapped to your face, and now you've obviously gone deep into the technology. What have you done? Yeah, so let's talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, we can talk about the free roaming experience. So what you see right now here is we had for our ULB Pro, we had the Pimax and we had the backpack PCs, which was they were very, very heavy. They worked, of course, but in terms of family entertainment, we are really glad to use the HTC Vive Focus 3 right now, together with the Vicon system, active motion capturing, and this is perfect for the family entertainment. I mean, if you imagine you have kids 7, 8 years old, wearing the HTC headset and playing the experience, they can smile. Yeah? Whereas with the old equipment, it was very heavy.
Yeah, we never did properly like mourn the backpack PC. Like, we should just take a moment of silence for the backpack PC. Everybody, okay, that's good enough. So thank God that thing's gone, right?
Yeah,
and
really,
so you guys are doing, so now you've got these high-end free roam experiences that are multiplayer.
Yes.
And you're using PC VR streaming over Wi-Fi 6E.
No, we got the content on the classes, and we use the connection of each classes. There we use the Wi-Fi module, of course, but the content itself is on the headset.
And you're pushing the envelope, I think, on number of people, like on the capacity.
Yes.
So what's happening there?
So with the Ulbi Pro, we got up to 30 people playing simultaneously on the big playing field, and when it comes to the Ulbi Go, which is the more mobile attraction, we got 10 people playing simultaneously on the playing field.
And so with 30 people, how big is the space, and how are you how are you tracking them?
It depends. The smallest place would be 300 square meters, but it could be 600 square meters as well. We use 140 active Vicon cameras for the full body tracking, and the LED pulsars. So this is at the moment the limitation. These pulsars.
Yeah, and so when you say the limitation is of the number of players you can have,
exactly.
is that's because you've got tracker on the head, tracker on the backpack, tracker on each hand. Are you doing foot tracking as well?
Yes.
So you've got 6 trackers per, and each one has a frequency, kind of like as far as it pulses to identify itself, right?
It's an LED pattern.
Yep.
So you got that matrix, and you got a LED pattern, and this is the limitation, of course.
And so 30 players, so you got 180 different trackers in a space.
Yes.
Wow.
And if you count the props as well, so we got haptical props. It's even more.
What kind of props do you put in the space?
So it depends on the different experiences. If you imagine, we got one experience, it's called Rolandica. You got a lighthouse, you got a big boat, and when it comes to Amber Plague, our newest experience, we got self-made weapons, we got riddles to solve. So these are all haptics which has to be tracked.
Cool. And so so 30 people at a time. How long's the experience? And
at Ulbi Pro, we're talking about 30 minutes per experience, and with Ulbi Go, we have approximately 10 to 12 minutes.
Wow, so you've got 30 people in a room together. Are you moving them through so there's like different?
Yes, exactly.
So not all 30 are in the seeing each other at the same time?
Yeah, exactly. So we got a pre-show, then we got different stages in the main show. We got, for Amber Plague, we got a separate helicopter room where there's a big motion platform engineered by Mack rides. And then we got a post-show. So you have like, is it like 10, 10, and 10? Or how do you, I'm curious how many people Depends on the group.
Okay.
Depends on the group.
What's the max? There's a capacity limit though.
When we say 30 people, it's the maximum. But we are already playing with 4 people or 6 people per group.
Gotcha. Okay.
That's the usual, the average group size.
Yeah. And so you've got 2 different systems. You know, you've said you've got the Pro, and what did you call it? The other one? Is it like
the Ulbi Go?
The Ulbi Go. So you got Pro and Go, not to be confused with GoPro. And so why have you decided that there's room for, or a need for, like the high end with full body, and the high end is full body tracking, right? So all the Vicon cameras and the active trackers. And talk about the low end system. What's the Go system comprised of?
The Go system consists of the HTC Vive Focus 3 as well, and in terms of the haptical devices, of course, you can combine the B Haptics Vest or use the controllers, but nothing more. And the difference is the Ulbi Pro was the first development of us, together with a big Vicon tracking system, but there was the need to have that low, I call it low end or more budget-oriented version, because often the Ulbi Pro is the when you talk about 1.5 or 2 million, it's a showstopper for many people. Yeah.
Is that what it costs to build the full?
If you order the experience as well, and depending on different haptical elements, you add that some.
Yeah, wow. Go ahead. I think we should show what this looks like. So this is the. So these are the active. These are the active markers. You can see them on the headset, on the hands, and you've got them built into this. And what's so this is the B-haptic vest. What else? What's this thing?
So here you see it better. This is for the tracking itself. So it's the power, the vibration model of the vest. And we already integrated our LEDs for the pattern, for the tracking. You can see it at the headset itself. We got the wrist tracking, the hand tracking, and of course the foot tracking.
And I think, and I'm looking at Andy Ray from Vicon in the audience, and Felix, but you know the reason to track the body is because, again, for inverse kinematics, if you're interpreting what the body is doing, you're guessing based on what the hands and the head and the feet are doing, and there's a lot more computational guessing if you're not actually tracking the body, and you're likely to get that wrong. And you guys are nodding. Am I? Yeah. Okay. Cool. Just checking to make sure I had that right. Yeah. So you're really, you're really getting an accurate tracking, and when you have 30 people in an environment, if they were all doing this really weird, wonky, we've all seen the weird, wonky avatar where your arm's back here and your legs up there, right? I mean,
that's what it works.
Well, and it'd be massively distracting to the experience and really break immersion, right? I mean, all of a sudden, everybody's just looking around at all the wonky avatars. So I can see why this is actually really critical for the types of experiences that you're building, and it's not something I'd actually contemplated before. Yeah. Wow.
I mean, if you want to do the full body tracking, you have to do it right. And this is the result.
Yeah. And so what type of location does this go in? Something of this scale and expense and quality. Where do you have this now, and what types of locations do you see as the market for this type of experience?
So we got our own playground at the Europa Park itself. So we got the 3 experiences. We got the miniature Wonderland, which is based in Hamburg, and that's for ULB Pro. We are negotiating with 2 other clients, but in terms of the ULB Go, we are globally scaling right now, because there you got the sum of 75% without 75,000 euros without experience, and which is more attractive for a lot of people.
Yeah. So I want to stay on this for a second, then we'll get to go in detail. And so this is actually operating in a theme park.
Yes, exactly.
And so, like, one of the challenges with free roam VR is operators worry about throughput. And how do you do something? So what's the daily throughput of that attraction at Europa Park?
Depends on the day, but if
what's the capacity? What could it do? Do you know roughly?
We will do 200 250 people per day. So that's the average number, yeah.
And what's the attendance of the theme park? It's got to be in the thousands or tens of thousands, right? On like the capacity of the theme park.
Compared to a roller coaster or whatever?
No, the whole park, right? So there's, in Europa Park on a given day, there might be 10,000 people in the whole park, right? More, right?
More, yeah.
And so how do you, I'm curious about, how do you price that to make sure that there's, you got 10,000 people or more is your addressable market in a given day. Sorry, I'm kind of a business marketing guy, and I'm just fascinated by this stuff. And so you have a thing where the capacity is in the hundreds. It's a small fraction of the total addressable market each day. So how much can you charge for that? I'm assuming you can charge a lot.
So we got 2 different price models. If you take the ULB Pro, it's a 30 minutes experience. We take 30 euros. And for the ULB Go, it's the 10-minute experience. We take 10 euros.
So you're still only getting $1 a minute. When you, it's really interesting. I'm just constantly frustrated by the low price that we charge for this stuff in our industry.
So you can say that the one product is compensating the other one. You have to do it with love. Yeah. And of course, I think for the future there will be a merge, because if you compare the development of the last years and you predict the next years, ULB Go and ULB Pro, I think they will merge together.
Well, let's talk about ULB Go. So ULB Go is basically a headset-based system. Is it still using Wi-Fi 6E, or is it using native content on the headset?
Native content on the headset itself, yeah.
So a lot less infrastructure.
Yeah, and what you see here is actually a photo of that attraction within the Europa Park. And you can see that there is artificial light, that you have natural light from outside, you have moving content on the LED screens, and the tracking works perfectly. So I'm really proud of that system, and love to sell it.
and so one of the things you were leading into before I asked that question is that, you know, and Vicon's here, and they've just kind of started unveiling this markerless motion capture, and so where do you see it going, and how, as they start merging, and you don't need all the body tracking, but you're still going to need cameras. So how do you still see maintaining two systems in the future, and what do you think? Where do you think it's going to head?
We will see. In my perfect world, you got one system. Yeah, you got one USB, call it Plus, and then you can add different modules, like maybe haptics, maybe related to some experiences, different props, and I think this will be the development for the future. Yep, that's it.
Yeah, and what about, and from a content standpoint, if you're developing for the high-end system, for the pro system, you know, I think one of the challenges in developing content is fragmentation, right? So you're developing content for different systems with different capabilities, which you're doing now, and you've got clear differentiation between the high end and the low end. But as those lines start to blur, and we get with markerless motion capture, so we don't have all the wearables, to the customer, it's not going to look much different, right? They're going to put on a headset, and they're going to walk into a system. You know, and I think one of the challenges we're going to have to figure out how to manage as an industry is how do we create content, because the CapEx of the cameras is still going to be significantly higher, but it's going to give a better version of the experience. And if you have, you know, if you have inverse kinematics in one, and then you have, full body tracking in the other, but it's really the same basic experience. I'm just thinking out loud and kind of asking this question of the industry. Is like, how do we manage that?
This is a big or important thing. So, and it's one of our USP, because we got storytelling department, and which is very, very important for these kind of contents. If you think about having a 30 minutes experience, and even if you have a 10-minute experience, you need that storytelling, because there are so many companies who could create beautiful content, but without story, without heart. And this is our currency, that we have emotions in our experience, and we release emotions. And this is one of our most impactful, call it KPIs or USPs, that we got a storytelling department, and could have this benefit in the whole group.
Yeah, and of course, right at the end, you bring up what I think is the most interesting thing: is how do we tell stories in virtual reality? And so I'm gonna ask you that. What's the, you know, one of the challenges with storytelling is we're used to watching someone else's story on the screen or in a book or whatever, and there's this separation between us as the viewer or the listener or the reader, and we try to relate to the main character. But in virtual reality, we're now at the center of that, where we feel like we're the main character. Yep. How do you tell stories? Like, what are some of the challenges around storytelling in VR when now because it's a different viewpoint than we've ever had in the history of storytelling?
I mean, one thing we have to take care of is the technique. Something like, okay, you need gamification, you need to add a replay value, like call it, maybe a body count. So you want to compete to others, and or you want to challenge yourself the next time. This is the technique. On the other hand, you have to play or create meaningful stories that you are in that kind of immersion, that you want to go further, you want to go into the character's role, you want to play it. And this is what we are cracking our brains to create these worlds.
And how big is intellectual property? So you did the Valerian, coaster game ride, obviously, so there was a deep story there that you could relate. You watch the movie, you understand the characters, you understand the context. How much is that is intellectual property and movies and with streaming TV shows going to play a role in what you guys are doing forward?
Oh, it plays a big role, because we are negotiating with external IP holders, of course, and we got our own IPs within the park. So we got experience like Ed and Edda, where we play with our own mascots, or Rolandica, which is the Nordic theme from our water park. And of course, IPs are very, very important because with the IPs you create this certain kind of story, and otherwise it's generic.
So is there something? What's the next thing for you guys?
Yeah, we already did the next thing. So during our Halloween season, we got an event. It's called Traumatica, and we did an immersive theater within that event. And what we created is a real cool XR experience with a Vive Elite. And this is insane. It's the world first XR experiences within the immersive theater, and I really like it. So we got 3 phases within that experience, and yeah, it's all about storytelling. It's all about storytelling.
Well, I look forward to coming back to Germany this year and experience some of the stuff that you guys have been working with.
You're of course invited.
It's been a little while, so it's about time. So yeah, well, thanks for Alexander. Thanks for joining us. Thank you.
Thank you.